The TECTO cold and freezer rooms are supplied in individual packaging units. The documents related to the delivery are located in a separate pack. The list of items reveals whether the complete cold or freezer room has been supplied. The carton also contains all the technical documents, small accessories, and the necessary assembly equipment. When unpacking the cold room elements, please perform a visual check to determine whether there has been any damage or if any parts are missing. We recommend that you attach the enclosed working drawing to a wall. The drawing contains the numbering and the arrangement of all the cold and freezer room elements and serves as the assembly plan. The assembly base must be measured precisely. The outline of the cold and freezer room can be marked with chalk or a marker pen. The working drawing reveals the precise basic dimensions of the cold and freezer room. Cold rooms operated at temperatures below -5 degrees Celsius must be placed on base ventilation gratings to prevent any frost heave. The base ventilation gratings are laid loose within the outlined area at intervals of 200 to 300 millimeters from each other. When all the gratings have been laid on the ground, carry out checks to establish whether the base is even and horizontal. Please use a spirit level or a laser guide. Please use suitable material to even out the surface if the ground is uneven and the base is not sitting perfectly horizontal. The floor elements of the cold or freezer room are placed on the ventilation gratings. The floor elements are supplied with sealing tape at the factory. The seal must not be damaged and needs to be checked carefully. Remove the protective film from the sealing tape before connecting the floor elements. The floor elements are pushed together tightly and connected by self-centering eccentric cam locks. The locks are tightened from inside the element with an Allen key by turning them to the right. Please note, the locking devices will only tighten if the distance between the cold room elements is less than 12 millimeters during the assembly process. The enclosed sealing tape is attached to the clean edge of the floor inside panel. The protective film has to be removed from the sealing tape. The openings in the cam locks now have to be sealed. Place filling material in the drill holes for this purpose, and PU sealing compound into the holes. A sealing plug made of stainless steel is placed on each drill hole and is inserted using a soft head hammer. Several holes need to be drilled in the counter element through existing pre-drill holes in the groove side. The metal drill required for this is supplied in the enclosed pack. The elements in the overlapping area are firmly fixed using the enclosed stainless steel rivets and a hand rivet gun. A glance at the working drawing shows the next steps. Adhesive labels identify the wall elements, and this establishes the correct configuration. Start the wall assembly with a corner element. The elements are connected using the cam locks. All the wall elements must be tightly pushed together and connected to each other. Please regularly check that the height of the joints is even. If not, correct this. No edges should protrude. It is important to follow the assembly sequence carefully when connecting the wall elements. Always start with a corner element and a supporting part. This means that there will be a stable corner once both parts have been clamped together. You can then attach all the other wall elements to it. In the case of cold and freezer rooms with two separate rooms, continue building until one side of the wall has reached the partition wall. The first room can then be fully completed in a circular pattern. Please note that one of the two wall T-elements must be inserted in room 1 as the last item. Then continue with the assembly work for room 2. The walls here are then completed as you move round the structure. We recommend that you look at the working drawing before inserting any new element to check the numbering. The single-leaf hinged door is supplied complete with its door frame. The door frame can be inserted at any point along the cold room walls at 300mm intervals. It is used here instead of a wall middle element. The appropriate slots and the hole for the condensation hose need to be sawn in the wall element at the point where the wall-hanging refrigeration unit will be attached at a later stage. The correct template is enclosed. The slots and the hole must then be sealed with zinc dust paint. The completed element is then carried to the assembly area and attached. Please note, the zinc dust paint is not supplied with the cold room, as the cold room walls are usually provided with slots. You can order the paint from Viessmann Kühlsysteme GmbH. Before attaching the ceiling elements, at least 2 people will be needed to hang the wall-hanging refrigeration unit on the wall using the slots that have been sawn. The prepared locking angles must be pushed up to the wall and then tightened. Once the wall-hanging refrigeration unit sits tight, the condensation water heating must be fed outside. The cover of the unit located outside is opened. The condensation hose must be pulled over the heating cable from inside and fed outside through the prepared hole in the wall element. In the case of freezer units, the enclosed siphon bend has to be placed on the condensation hose. After this, the refrigeration unit frame is closed again. Please continue to assemble the remaining wall elements. Alternatively, the refrigeration unit can be mounted after all the wall elements are in place. To guarantee the seal between the refrigeration unit and the ceiling, the enclosed Armorflex shaped parts have to be placed on top of the unit crossmember. A corner element should be inserted as the last part. After inserting the door and setting up all the wall elements, the ceiling elements have to be placed on the structure. They have to be precisely aligned and should close perfectly. It is vital that the seals are not damaged in this process. Once all the sealing elements are in place, they are tightened from inside using the cam locks. As with the other cold room elements, they are connected by a self-centering tongue and groove system. Please do not forget to remove the transportation safety plates on the door frame. The bottom of the door sill must be cleaned all around and filled with PU sealing compound in order to seal the door sill against any moisture that might penetrate. The stainless steel door sill must be centrally placed on the base element and aligned. The mounting drill holes at the top and the front are then drilled. The door sill is attached to the base element with a rivet gun and the enclosed rivets. The covering caps on the hinges must be removed in order to adjust the door hinges. The door is adjusted and set using a screwdriver and an 8mm Allen key. After assembling and adjusting the door, please check whether the lock catch engages behind the striking plate. If it needs to be adjusted, loosen the screws on the striking plate, relocate it, and tighten the screws again. Now check whether the door provides a tight seal. If the door provides a perfect seal, pre-drill through the round holes on the striking plate. The striking plate is also secured with 2 screws. The covering caps for the door hinges then have to be attached again. The visible connecting holes in the wall elements inside the cold room have to be sealed with filler made of foam and the covering caps. Once the cold or freezer room is standing, you can start inserting the shelf systems. The shelves for the long sides of the cold room need to be assembled outside if you need more room. A diagonal cross member must be screwed in the middle to give the shelf sides the best possible support. It serves as a support for the shelf frame. Please pay attention to the dimensions of the diagonal cross member. The diagonal cross member is connected to the rear side of the shelves by the shelf supports. The holes for this are already prepared in the shelf supports. Once the shelf frame has been assembled, carry it carefully into the cold room. Special floor supports are attached to the shelf bases on any shelf that is being extended. They later serve as a support for connecting another shelf, which is offset at a 90-degree angle. The bases of the long side shelves are simply connected to the side elements. There is no need to do any extra drilling or screwing. The shelf systems are self-stabilizing and extremely robust. Once both the long sides of the cold room have been equipped with shelves, the cross shelf at the rear is mounted. The floor supports at the rear now take effect. They were previously attached to the base of the opposite shelves. The shelf bottoms at the front are attached to the floor supports crosswise and are pressed together firmly. It is finally necessary to check whether all the shelves are horizontal. If not, the shelf feet can be adjusted as necessary. The cold or freezer room has now been completely assembled and is ready for use.